6 managers fired in 8 years. Wherever Kylian Mbappé goes, the coach gets the axe. And now at Real Madrid, the biggest club on the planet, it's happening all over again. So is Mbappé the most talented problem in world football? Or is everyone just afraid to say what's really going on inside that locker room? Let's get into it. When Mbappé finally signed with Real Madrid in the summer of 2024, it was supposed to be a fairy tale. The kid from the suburbs of Paris, from a little town called Bondy, had dreamed of wearing the white jersey since he was a teenager. He had Cristiano Ronaldo posters on his bedroom wall. He visited the Bernabeu as a 14-year-old and took a photo with his idol. Over 70,000 fans packed the stadium just for his unveiling. The most high-profile arrival since Ronaldo himself, 15 years earlier. This wasn't just a transfer. This was destiny arriving on schedule. Real Madrid paid no transfer fee. He came on a free agent deal after his PSG contract expired. But the total financial package was staggering. A $150 million signing bonus spread over 5 years, plus a base salary of roughly $36 million a year. When you combine everything, the bonus installments, the base pay, the image rights, that's close to $70 million annually flowing into one player's pocket. For context, that's more than what most starting NFL quarterbacks make per season. And that kind of money at that kind of club comes with one expectation and one expectation only: deliver championships. No excuses, no rebuilding years, trophies. And here's the thing. On paper, he has absolutely delivered. In his first season at the Bernabeu, Mbappé scored 42 goals across all competitions. 42. He won La Liga's Golden Boot as the league's top scorer with 31 goals in 34 appearances, beating Robert Lewandowski by 4. He shattered a club record for the most goals in a debut season, surpassing Cristiano Ronaldo's 33 in 2009-10 and Ivan Zamorano's 37 in 1992-93. He scored in 7 different competitions that year, including a hat-trick against Barcelona in the same game Madrid lost 4-3. This current season, he already has 23 league goals in just 22 matches, a goal roughly every 84 minutes of football. By December 2025, he equaled Ronaldo's all-time Real Madrid record of 59 goals in a single calendar year. He's hit 50 La Liga goals in just 53 appearances, averaging nearly a goal a game in Spanish football. The man literally cannot stop scoring. And you knew this was coming. Here's the part nobody wants to talk about. Despite all those goals, despite that generational talent, Real Madrid has not won a single major trophy since Mbappé arrived. Let that sink in. The most expensive free agent in football history joins the most decorated club in Europe, and they've got absolutely nothing to show for it. Second to Barcelona in La Liga last season, lost the Copa del Rey final, knocked out in the Champions League quarterfinals. Mbappé himself said his goals would be all for nothing if they didn't lead to trophies. Well, here we are. And this season, it's somehow gotten even worse. Now let's talk about the coaching carousel, because this is where it gets really uncomfortable for anyone defending Mbappé. Since Mbappé burst onto the scene at PSG in 2017, he has watched 6 head coaches get fired at his clubs. 6. Let me run through the names because people need to hear them. Unai Emery, gone after 2 seasons. Thomas Tuchel, fired mid-season despite winning the league. Mauricio Pochettino, gone after a year and a half. Christophe Galtier, fired after one turbulent campaign. Carlo Ancelotti, one of the most decorated coaches in the history of the sport, gone after a single season with Mbappé at Real Madrid. And most recently, Xabi Alonso, the legend, the tactical genius, fresh off an unbeaten Bundesliga title, fired after just 7 months in the job. That averages out to a new manager roughly every 1.4 years. Now think about that through an American lens. In the NBA or the NFL, if a franchise superstar went through 6 head coaches in 8 years, every analyst from ESPN to Fox Sports would be asking the same question. What is this guy doing to the locker room? And that's exactly what people are now asking about Kylian Mbappé. Let's rewind to PSG because the red flags were there long before Madrid. When Lionel Messi arrived in Paris in 2021, Neymar, Mbappe's former strike partner, went on a podcast with Brazilian legend Romario and said it straight. Mbappé became jealous, didn't want to share the spotlight. Neymar specifically said, "It's good to have egos, but you don't play alone. Big egos were everywhere. If nobody runs or helps, winning is impossible." There was the infamous penalty dispute during a 2022 League One match against Montpellier that went viral around the world. There was the dressing room blow-up after a 3-1 loss to Monaco where things were literally thrown across the room. There was the time coach Galtier made Mbappé vice-captain to replace Presnel Kimpembe, then reversed the decision days later because of the chaos it created. Kimpembe released a public statement saying he wasn't even told. Even Luis Enrique, who coached PSG after Mbappé left, reportedly told him he needed to be like Michael Jordan. Become the best defender first, then you earn the right to lead. That is not something you tell a player who's easy to manage. So then Mbappé arrives at Real Madrid, and at first everything looks beautiful. The vibes are immaculate. Federico Valverde, one of Madrid's most respected leaders, told France Football that Mbappé had shut up all the critics who predicted dressing room chaos. He called him a spectacular person and praised how fast he'd learned Spanish. "Better than mine," Valverde joked. The Bernabeu chanted his name every match day. But vibes don't win trophies, and the honeymoon didn't last long. When Xabi Alonso took over from Ancelotti in the summer of 2025, there was genuine excitement across football. He just led Bayer Leverkusen through an entire unbeaten Bundesliga season, a tactical mastermind and a club legend returning home to lead Madrid into a new era. But almost immediately, cracks started showing. Alonso's coaching style was rigid and demanding. More video analysis sessions, stricter daily routines, higher physical training loads. Players who had thrived under Ancelotti's relaxed, player-centric approach started pushing back hard. After a brutal 5-2 loss to Atletico Madrid, a painful 1-0 defeat at Anfield against Liverpool in the Champions League, and a frustrating draw with Rayo Vallecano, where Madrid took over 20 shots and scored 0, Mbappé went on camera and told the world Madrid had played very badly. His words were blunt. "What do you want me to say? When you don't win games at Real Madrid, there's a lot of talk." Behind the scenes, it was even worse. Spanish outlet Copes El Partidazo reported the dressing room had fractured into two distinct camps. On one side, Vinicius Jr., Valverde, Rodrigo, Brahim Diaz, Endrick, and Ferland Mendy, all frustrated with Alonso's tactical decisions and heavy rotation. On the other, Mbappé, Courtois, Güler, and some younger players, publicly backing the coach. But here's the thing. Standing behind the coach while the ship is sinking doesn't mean you're not part of the reason it's going down. Vinicius Jr., the player who scored a Champions League winning goal before Mbappé ever set foot in Madrid, was suddenly getting benched regularly. He started only 4 full 90-minute matches early in the season, visibly frustrated during every substitution. And here's the uncomfortable truth. When a $70 million a year player walks through the door, everybody else on that roster adjusts to accommodate him. The system bends around the star. Sometimes that adjustment breaks things that were already working perfectly. And then came Jeddah, January 11th, 2026, the Spanish Super Cup final, Barcelona versus Real Madrid in Saudi Arabia. A wild game. Barca wins 3-2 after Rafinha's deflected strike sealed it. And what happens after the final whistle? This is the moment that changed everything. Xabi Alonso, still the head coach, tells his players to form a guard of honor for Barcelona, which is a traditional custom in that tournament. Mbappé, he flat out refused. Caught on camera furiously pulling teammates away from the Barcelona players, gesturing wildly at Raúl Asensio, who was about to comply, physically directing the squad toward the tunnel. The video exploded across social media within minutes. Barcelona president Joan Laporta mocked him publicly, saying he must have been really upset. Spanish media called it an unsportsmanlike gesture. Fans worldwide called it disgraceful. And it was Alonso's final moment on the pitch as head coach of Real Madrid. Less than 24 hours later, Xabi Alonso was fired. Mutual agreement, the club said. But everyone saw the truth. Mbappé had publicly overruled his own head coach on live television in front of the entire football world. The power dynamic was crystal clear and impossible to ignore. The player was bigger than the manager, and the manager paid the price. Álvaro Arbeloa, promoted from Madrid's reserve team Castilla, took over. In his first press conference, he reminded everyone the squad had players with 6 European Cups and called for a new start. His debut match? A humiliating 3-2 loss to Albacete, a second division club nobody outside Spain has heard of, in the Copa del Rey. He called it a tragedy. Within days, Cadena Ser reported that President Florentino Perez was already reaching out to coaches for next season. Arbeloa hadn't even managed a full week of matches. Then came the Champions League disaster in Lisbon, January 28, 2026. Real Madrid needed just 1 point against Mourinho's Benfica for an automatic top 8 finish. What happened instead was a total implosion. Benfica won 4-2. The midfield collapsed under pressure. First half expected goals read 2.42 for Benfica versus a pathetic 0.35 for Real Madrid. 2 Madrid players were sent off in chaotic stoppage time. And in the dying seconds, Benfica's goalkeeper, their actual goalkeeper, Anatoly Trubin, powered a header into the net to seal qualification. A goalkeeper scored a header against the 15-time champions of Europe. Let that image sit with you. Mbappé scored both of Madrid's goals that night. Individual brilliance surrounded by collective wreckage, which has become the defining narrative of his time in Spain. After the game, he told reporters, "It's not about skill, it's not about tactics. It's about showing more determination than your opponent. Benfica showed that urgency. We didn't. That's concerning." He added, "We can't be strong one day and fall apart the next. A championship caliber team does not operate that way." He's not wrong, but the uncomfortable truth is that the pattern follows him everywhere. At Monaco, his coach departed. At PSG, 4 managers were fired. At Real Madrid, 2 coaches gone in under 2 years. Every time Mbappé scores goals, delivers composed sound bites, and remains untouchable while everyone around him takes the fall. Does that make him toxic? Not necessarily. But managing a squad built around Mbappé means navigating a constant minefield of superstar ego, relentless media scrutiny, and institutional deference to a player the club spent a decade chasing. When someone earns $70 million a year and commands 128 million Instagram followers, the coach is never truly in charge. The player is, and everyone inside that building knows it. That's the real story here. It's not about whether Mbappé is talented. He's obviously world-class, arguably the best pure goal scorer walking the planet right now. On pace for over 40 goals this season, he just equaled Ronaldo's calendar year scoring record. But football is a team sport, and at some point, you have to ask the hard question. If the team keeps failing, the coaches keep getting fired, and the locker room keeps splitting. What is the common denominator? Real Madrid is in uncharted territory. Champions League playoffs instead of the round of 16. Unthinkable 2 years ago. A narrow 1-0 first leg win over Benfica in the knockouts. Vinicius scoring the winner. But the tension is everywhere. Bellingham injured, Rodrigo out. Arbeloa managing on borrowed time with reports of a marquee coaching hire already in the works for summer. Kylian Mbappé is one of the greatest talents football has ever produced, but talent without stability is just fireworks. Beautiful for a moment, then gone. If Real Madrid is going to win the Champions League, the one trophy Mbappé has never lifted, something fundamental has to change. Not the coach, not the formation, the culture. And that change starts with the most powerful man in that dressing room. Not the president, not the manager, number 10. So here's my question, and I genuinely want your honest answer. Do you think Kylian Mbappé is the problem at Real Madrid? If you want more deep dives like this breaking down what's really happening in football, smash that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. And share this with someone who still thinks Mbappé is that innocent kid from Bondi who just loves the beautiful game. Because that kid, he grew up a long time ago.